Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Friday the 16th of October. Okay, looking at the euro dollar first, and as you can see, the euro literally yesterday did a bearish engulfing candle. It literally engulfed the full size of the body itself and managed to put in a higher high and a lower low, so complete engulfing candle there. On the 4 hourlies, what we got at the moment, sorry, I should say that's it's a pretty bearish looking candle. However, we've run back down towards the daily 8 moving average at this juncture, and it could get a bit more of a bounce off that. Often you get a candle like this, such a big candle, we often end up in a bit of an inside bar or just a much smaller day at least often. Now we've got the at the moment it looks like we've got a bit of a, let's just go on to a 4 hourly here. No, it's not diverging. It looks like maybe diverging on the hourlies. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but certainly got the potential for it to rally up a little bit here. It's just putting in a sort of a little bullish shorter term move here. It doesn't mean to say that it'll end up as a positive day altogether, and let's just have a look on okay, there was divergence between the two lows here, effectively on the hourly chart. Now, we're in that sort of point at the moment. We've just come up and retested the hourly 21 at this point. If it can manage to break up beyond that hourly 21, it could be on for the daily. That, depending how things roll out there, could be the end of the range for the upside at that point. But could give a reasonable target. So the downside, well, if we start breaking this trend line after 8 o'clock, I'd be looking for the potential for it to run back down and break the lows there, and maybe back down towards that S1 area. The 200 moving average is sitting quite close below. So really see how it breaks. The short-term trend here really is was yesterday, or intermediate-term trend could be argued is on the downside. We put lower highs in yesterday, and we've confirmed a lower high, with 2 lower highs there and lower lows. This through the Asian session, so it is really erring towards the downside. But as I say, after such a day yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a bit of a consolidation day anyway. Looking at cable. Cable was a bit of a different day. In fact, it had more of a consolidation day yesterday after the previous day, so it wasn't a massive surprise to see it not move too far. It had a really big shove up. It's trying to break this trend line here on the dailies. Not quite successful at the moment. It's broken but not closed above at this juncture. Well, you see this sort of consolidation. It's not just the trend line here. If you look at the round numbers, we're pretty close to the 155 area, and this in itself, there may be supply around this area, which we identified yesterday when we looked at it for quite some time. The price just couldn't get into that sort of zone. I mean, every time it sort of went up near the 155 area, it rolled over, and eventually with the news it rolled over completely. Full recovery afterwards, back into tune to where it was. And generally when you get that sort of full recovery and it's broken away, pulls back, it often goes through to retest the other side of that area. But as it happens, just late in the session, didn't have the strength to do so. At this point, well, already around the daily pivot, and it is a bit of a sort of a guesstimate in terms of where it will go. The 50 MA is not far below, and it may just draw it back down towards that. If it does that, it'll be first test, so it's a tight one. Any rallies could run back towards that 55.10 area where the R1 is, and again, if the supply is still sitting there, if there's plenty of supply, and we'll just see resistance effectively at that point. Any break of the downside, well, as I say, we could run down to towards yesterday's lows in the S1 if it can get through that 50. Okay. Looking at it though, sort of almost expecting it at some point. If we do see, we may see it break, the highs broken. If it pushes up there, as it has pulled away from it by quite some way, when it comes back up, normally, as I say, we'll see a test. So If we do see a push to that upside, well, we may get just a bit more of a push up and a close above that daily trend line. Okay, and finally, Japan, right, dollar yen. No surprise to see it close back in its range. It did actually make a break of the lows of that range though. Yesterday it looked at one stage that it was going to dive and run back towards those sort of 116 area. Still a possibility it could do that. It's just running back into some resistance here at this moment, and well, possibly put a 4-hour reversal bearish Arami in if it closes like anything like where it is at the moment. It's got a daily pivot below it, so it's a reasonable chance we'll see that as a target. It's already been through the 50, may bounce off the 21 and the 50 combo there and push back upwards, but if it breaks through, well, then the daily pivot is an obvious target, as I said, and well, maybe back on course for the lows. Aussie dollar is sort of consolidating around its current sort of range. It's not managed to get either way. I mean, it put a bearish pivot swing in, it then put a bullish pivot swing in, and it's, as I say, not making any true headway at the moment. And it could be that it's just coming into a zone where we'll see it consolidate a lot more. Looking really, it's not giving me too many clues in terms of what we're seeing here from these time frames here. Just looking in terms of because it's starting to get a bit choppy, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Well, today it's already hit its S1 daily pivot. Could, if we see any sort of acceleration, if it breaks this trend line here, perhaps it may go up towards yesterday's highs, and maybe even the R1, those prior highs, could be a good target for it, around about 73.80. Any sort of failing from where we're sitting at the moment, could see it coming down to the 200 sort of region, maybe beyond. But as I say, it looks to me from a daily perspective that we could just end up in a bit of a consolidation pattern now. Okay, news-wise today, what we're looking at here, we've got final CPI for Europe. Okay, that's not likely to cause too much. There's not a lot of news out today at all. At 1:30 we've got manufacturing sales. That's Canadian numbers. If you look at watching the Canadian dollar, consumer sentiment later on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the US, and that's pretty much it. So quite a quiet day in terms of volume. So inside days and quite a possibility slow days. We've had a bit of a slowness after 10 o'clock each day recently. That could just prevail. Okay, have a great one. Bye for